Hello and welcome to this presentation, this guide really into a different way of thinking, but also a guide that you can use in a very practical way. And this guide, or what we're calling 30-day journey into consciousness, because that's the end goal for all of us, right? Is to gain a level of consciousness. But this is put in a more practical way that you can start using immediately. There's a lot of information out there on ways of thinking and things that you can do, and many of you probably have heard a lot of those and have read books and have been taught in a certain way. And what this really is just something that you can try, something that you can apply to your life immediately. It doesn't require that you purchase anything, that you subscribe to something, nothing like that. You don't have to really do anything different in your daily routine. You don't have to go anywhere. You will do it all within yourself, really, as you work through this. This is a 30-day plan, and the idea behind it is that within each week, you are going to be introducing new things to do, new activities. It's going to change your way of kind of conducting yourself. So I'm hopeful that at the end of this 30-day journey that you will feel renewed, you will feel different about your life. You will have left many things that maybe were weighing you down. They will be gone. And you'll have a different sense of consciousness. And so that's the goal of this video. Now let's get started. So as I mentioned, this is really designed to be a 30-day journey, right? With each week, we are going to introduce something for you to take on, and we're going to start real slow and build up over those 30 days. And you need to be prepared to go through, based on where you are in your life, some challenges. But I encourage you to stick with it and to stay strong. And if you do fall off, it's okay. Just step away from it for a minute and then come back to it. There's no harm in doing that. So the very first thing we're going to start with is meditation and breathing. And many of you have heard this, probably multiple times. Meditate. Got to meditate in the morning. That is the most important thing for you to do. And meditation is not easy. Sitting there upright and breathing seems like it's a pretty easy thing to do, but it's actually quite challenging. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this very slow. So for the first 7 days, you're going to focus on just simply a morning meditation, right? And focus on your breathing. Now you want to build up to at least 10 minutes by that 7th day. Okay, so our goal is to have a 10-minute meditation every morning by the end of that first week. Okay, now if you've never meditated before, it's completely understandable. A lot of people, they struggle with it. And a minute or 2 minutes goes by, they're trying to get 10 minutes, and they break away from it. They realize, oh, I got to go do something. I forgot to send an email. I better check my phone. During this time, no phones. Turn everything off. Find a quiet place. Sit in a comfortable position, but make sure that your spine is straight. Make sure you're in an upright position. And there's a lot of documentation out there. We won't go too heavy into that aspect of it. But just be prepared to sit there for at least that 10-minute period and meditate. Focus on your breathing, right, as being the really the core of your meditation. Take deep breaths into your nose and out through your mouth. And if you can, visualize the breath. Don't just breathe, but actually see it. If you can, visualize it coming in, entering your body, and then exhaling. Okay, that's an important part as you move through these 30 days, is to make sure that you can sit, for 10 minutes. You can take those deep breaths in and just simply exhale. That's all you're doing. That's really it, is just focusing on that 10-minute, building up to the 10 minutes. You're focusing on your breath, and what's going to happen is thoughts are going to enter. Thoughts are going to enter into your mind, and as thoughts enter in, you just simply push them away. And you replace it with breath. So as a thought comes in, whether it's good or bad, whether it's something you know you need to do, something you forgot to do, just let it go. You have that 10 minutes. So take the deep breath in and just simply exhale during this time. It's very important that you do this for that 7-day period, so you feel very comfortable. At the end of this, it's going to be natural. If you miss your meditation after the 7th day, you're going to know it, because meditation is going to become part of your daily routine. That's the goal. Okay? That's the goal. And if you miss a day after you've been doing this for a while, that's okay too, but you're going to come back to it the following day. So week 1 is all about meditation and breathing and building up to at least that 10-minute time period, right? Every morning. So you'll keep your eyes closed, seated in an upright position. Make sure your posture and spine is straight. Find a nice quiet place. Deep breath in. Any thought that enters in your mind, try to replace it with your breath, right? And just simply exhale. Okay. Then we move on to week 2. Now, week 2 is all about positivity, but it also includes detoxification. This is where the challenge is going to come in, and it depends on where you are, all right, as an individual, and what you're willing to give up and what you can give up. And this is where some struggles might come in, but the focus is on positivity, right? Your daily thought and moving towards detoxification. Okay. Now, as you go through your day, and this applies to everybody, you're going to have positive and negative thoughts, right? So at the end of your first 7 days and moving into your next one, now you're thinking about what you're doing outside of that meditation, and as thoughts enter in your mind. And you're really classifying those two thoughts. Are you feeling joy? Are you feeling positivity? Or are you feeling negativity? Did somebody say something that angered you and now you were going to respond? Well, that's obviously negative, right? Did you raise your voice? Did you lose your temper? Did you honk your horn? It's a negative, right? So we can really categorize those. We know what they are, right? Positive thoughts are thoughts of joy, happiness, bliss, peace, right? Anything that we come across that just brings that level of joy. I mean, we are alive. That's a joyful thing. That's a wonderful thing. And so positive thoughts are always going to be that. And we know what negative thoughts are. Negative thoughts are anger. We see it every day. We see somebody yelling at somebody else. We see, again, somebody honking their horn, right? We see it all of the time. Jealousy. This is internal. This is us being jealous of somebody else, of them having something that we want, we don't have, right? These are negative thoughts. We know what they are. We can classify them very easily. They really don't fall in too many places outside of that, right? If they don't, we're probably asleep. Okay? Now, over the next 7 days, this is a very, very important part of this. You will only focus on the positive. Keep it positive, right? And just like during the meditation, when those thoughts entered in our minds, we said, well, let them go, right? Get rid of them. Well, that's not easy to do. That's not easy to do when somebody is yelling at us, right? Somebody's demanding something of us. Or somebody maybe just says something that we don't like. What did they insult us, or they said something negative. Well, when those thoughts enter your mind, this is when you will replace that with breath. And I'm not saying that when somebody angers you, you're going to suddenly sit into a meditation posture and start doing a meditation. You'll do it internally. It won't look like anything is going on, but you will just take that deep breath. You will fall into that meditative state that you were in earlier that day, right? So as the negative thoughts enter in your mind, right, or you are going to react negatively, you replace it with breath. You don't have to replace it with a positive thought, right? That's not the idea. Just replace it with breath. That's it. So you're about to react. Pause just for a moment and take that breath. Okay? It's not a deep breath. You don't need to be dramatic about it. Just in through the nose, just like when you're meditating, and out through your mouth, very easily. You may just about to be texting a response to somebody, something negative, and you look at the text. Say, that's a negative response. Okay? You know it's a negative response. It's not a positive response. You're saying, well, what about you? As opposed to, well, thank you. I appreciate it. Replace it with breath. Okay? So over those 7 days, it's all about positivity and replacing negativity with breath. The other very important part of this is detoxification. On top of the negative thoughts that are coming in, we're also thinking about all of those things that we are taking today, that we are using today, that take us out of this consciousness. Now, the consciousness portion of it is in alignment with the positivity, right? If you're positive, if you're joyful, if you're happy, you're conscious. When you try to get out of yourself is when you look for something that provides that. Alcohol provides that. Drugs provide that. Whether they're drugs over the counter, or they're drugs by somebody on the street, or they're drugs coming from somewhere else, right? It's something chemical or non-chemical that is entering your system to take you out of yourself, to take you out of your mind. That's why you're doing it. Some of you may be saying, well, I love the taste of beer. Like me, I love the taste of beer. But when you drink too much alcohol, it takes you out of yourself. That's why you do it. You're escaping, right? You're becoming unconscious, right? And so many things, food takes us out of that because it gives us that level of pleasure, right? It takes us into that unconsciousness. We are wanting to move away from that, right? This is a journey to consciousness. So during this time, we have to leave those things alone, right? We have to think about how anything that's recreational, alcohol, drugs, those types of things. Now, if it's medication because if it's something that we have, and yes, it has an impact on our minds and our thought, well, that's something else, right? That's medication that's keeping you alive. We are talking about those things that we clearly know that we are indulging in to take us outside of our minds, right? To take us out of that, what we're calling reality, okay, for just a moment, and then we will come back to it. But during this time, we're getting out. So when we think about drugs and alcohol like this, we think about them in different ways, right? Habitually, meaning that we use it every day, right? It's something that we kind of can't be without it. Recreational, which means that we're having fun with it, right? We're getting out of consciousness through recreation. Hey, this is life, let's live it. And then ceremonial, right? So there's many cultures that will take something that comes from the ground and they'll consume it to get out of themselves within a ceremony. Okay? Well, I think that's legitimate, right? That's legitimate for that culture. But if you're drinking every day and you're smoking something every single day, that's not ceremonial. That's not even recreational. That's habitual. That's habitual. During this time, we're removing all elements of that. Anything that we know is taking us out of that consciousness, that is our end goal, we're going to remove it during this period. And this may be the tougher period for some of us, right? But this is an important part of it. Okay? This is part of your journey to remove those from your system. Because when you're conscious, you really don't need them. You don't want to get outside of that. You don't want to get outside of you because you're in the positive state of mind. You feel joy. You feel happiness. You feel bliss. You don't want to get out of that. You want to stay in it for as long as you possibly can. So it's very important during this time that we think about this whole detoxification, and that includes food. That includes food. Food that we know is not good for us. Processed food, sugars, right? These are things that, remember, it's that old saying, you are what you eat. We are what we eat. So we want to step back from what we're eating on a regular basis and think about how we can change that, right? Very important part of this week. Week 3, visualization and daily goals. Now we move into, right, thinking about where we want to be, visualizing moving forward, and setting these incremental goals, but small goals, okay? So for the next 7 days, you're going to add visualization after your meditation. You're going to spend 10 minutes during your morning meditation, and then right after that, you're going to shift. Now you're not going to be clearing your mind of nothing, no thing, right? Into seeing yourself, seeing your future self. Okay? You're going to spend some time thinking about that which you will become. And think about it in a very concrete way. Whether it's something that you're trying to attain, this could be anywhere from relationships through, wealth, anything that is in your mind that you visualize as wanting to attain, right? Not wanting to attain to be happy, but where you want to see yourself. And so these visualizations, of course, include all that we all want, right? Joy, a great career, enough money in the bank to do what we need to do, right? A healthy relationship with somebody we care about dearly. Relationships with as many people as we possibly can to bring joy into their lives, and they bring joy into your life, right? But during those 10 minutes, that's all you're thinking about. You are visualizing how you will look, what you will have, where you will be, right? And the joy you will feel around that. That's the focus during this week. What you're also doing during this period of time is you are going to focus on very small incremental goals, not big ones. These are daily goals. These are daily goals. So at the beginning of the week, whether it has something, it may be exercise. Maybe as you see your future self, you're saying, well, I'd like to get in better shape. I'd like to look this way. I'd like to lose some weight. Everybody wants to lose weight, right? These small incremental goals are just simple step, right? I did 1 push-up today. I'm going to do 2 push-ups tomorrow. I'm not even going to think about running a race, right? I want to do a marathon, or I want to run a 10K. Well, guess what I'm going to do today? I'm going to walk around the block. What I'm going to set up tomorrow is I'm going to do 2 blocks. Okay? These are goals that you know you can attain immediately. And you're going to create that list, right, in these small incremental goals, but you're going to analyze that list and make sure that those activities that you are setting up are in alignment with your visualized future self. Make sense? So as you create that list, don't think big. Think small for now. Okay? Think small for now. What can I do today? And then how will I improve that tomorrow? But that's going to be a incremental list, very attainable, right? We just had an example. My visualized self is to lose weight. My incremental goal is to walk just simply around the block. In fact, I'm just going to walk right down to get the mail. But tomorrow what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk not only to get the mail, but I'm going to take 1 lap around the park. Okay? The day after that, I'm going to go around the park and I'm going to go a little bit further down the block and then come back. That's it. That's simple. So these are very small incremental goals that you're doing over those 7 days. So at the end of the 7 days, you can look back at your list and say, yes, I accomplished all of those goals. I did very well. Okay? So now you're visualizing this future self. You've added it to your meditation. And you've also are creating over these 7 days these very small incremental goals that you make sure you cross through. You check them off, cross them out, right? Mark them complete. Okay? Now we move into week 4. We now want to start measuring some of our success. How well are we doing? How did we do? Right? Now within these next 7 days, you're going to focus on bigger goals, but not that big. They're going to be goals that we can measure within a 3-month increment. So think about what you can accomplish, what you intend to accomplish within that 3-month period, because we are going to measure that. We're going to analyze it and we're going to review it on that 3rd month. These goals may be sales goals. You want to reach a sales quota. Maybe it's that 10, 15 pounds that we're trying to lose, right? Maybe it's something related to a career goal that we have, right? Or maybe we're writing something. We're writing a book and we want to make sure that we get those chapters out. And we set these goals, these 3-month incremental goals, again, in alignment with that future self. Right? This is an important aspect of that. Now, these goals, they are bigger, right? But they're also attainable. They're goals that we can set that are in our wheelhouse, right? It's already what we're doing. I'm not going to do anything too grandiose, right? It's not a year-long goal. I'm not really thinking in those terms right now. I'm just thinking within 3 months. 3 months so that I can measure it at the end of that period. Okay? Now, during your morning visualizations, don't forget to reflect on those goals and renew your excitement about them. We want to be excited about getting to those goals, right? So think about them. Think about how you're going to feel when you get to that point, but don't linger on it. You're only spending 10 minutes, right? After that, let it go. Let it go. Then your day will start. You have your list of activities that you're working on, right? And you'll reflect on it the next morning during your morning session. Now, after the 90 days, we want to look at what we've done. right? Did we get to that point? Did we set those goals out? Did we accomplish those goals? What did we do right? Right? How can we improve? We don't linger on the negative. Oh, I set this goal, I didn't get there, I must be a failure. Absolutely not. Remember, you have another 90 days. Take another shot at it. But I guarantee you, you've accomplished a portion of that. You got closer to it than you might not have had you not gone through this. Now, you'll spend some time, right, after each of those 90-day periods to reflect, right, on the next set of goals. So get to that point, right? Let's keep the momentum going. Think about the next set of accomplishments you're looking to acquire, and we go on from there.